Hi, welcome back to Dandelion Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, Donna, along with my older sister, Jules.
Hello.
We are glad you're back with us. PSA, sometimes we hit triggering or inappropriate for young listeners type of information, so just listener beware. We're going to talk about growing up an orphan with parents this week. Sounds a bit odd, but there are definitely specific clinical definitions and explanations for this type of childhood. It's kind of like physically, you're raised by parents, they're there, they live in the house with you. You're technically not an orphan, right? You don't belong to an orphanage without parents of any kind. But your parents are there, but they're emotionally absent, or they're very neglectful or abusive, or they're narcissistic, which I think falls in line with our parents for sure. So you become basically an emotional orphan. Your essential emotional needs like comfort, validation, and unconditional love, like they don't permeate your childhood. You have a roof over your head, you have a pair of shoes to wear, be happy, that's it. Like that's as far as it goes. And for anyone who's had children or been a teacher or a therapist situation for young kids or anything, you know that there's a lot of different kinds of learning that go into raising a child. There's social, there's emotional, there's a discipline aspect, there's becoming your own judge and learning right from wrong, there's appropriate behavior versus inappropriate behavior. I mean, there's so much to learn as a kid, and you do not know as an adult because you're not an adult yet. There's no way you can understand things like that. Mom got divorced. I was 9 years old and I was supposed to be able to like deal with it all. Well, you're 9. How can you deal with a divorce? You have no idea what it really means, right? So this is parents who are physically there, basic needs probably met, but anything else that's really important for a child's development, not there. So there can be different types of situations. One is called a push and pull, where one of the parents might seem fairly responsible, but then the other one is overly and overtly neglectful. So they end up having this very push-pull, inconsistent, abusive type of dynamic. There's also the illusion of care, where neglect is often hidden, making it really kind of difficult for the child to validate their own suffering. So as a child, you're thinking, I guess I'm being taken care of, but I'm not sure. Like, I don't really know. Jimmy's mom hugs him all the time when I see her, but I don't ever get hugs. Or some of that questioning, that whole illusion
I
that the
think it comes
neglect.
down more to just feeling safe. Or do you
Yeah,
feel loved? I mean,
right.
some people had a father who was a little more standoffish, not as physical and hugging, but they knew they were loved. They felt it, or they knew it, or they knew that that person would keep them safe.
Exactly. The idea of neglectfulness wasn't part of the thinking
Right.
process. Exactly. Like the emotional neglect, right? Parents are self absorbed, or the child's own needs or emotions are disregarded or treated secondary. Almost like you're the pebble in my shoe,
Yeah, well,
mommy.
that's how we were treated, though. They did what they
Absolutely.
wanted fully with whatever monies and whatever it took, and we were denied any kind of individual expression or exploration or creativity in any way, shape, or form. If we wanted to do it, we had to be able to finance it on our own or have someone
Right.
else facilitate it.
It felt like experiences were constantly cut short. They got to go out with friends and their children to the new Japanese restaurant. I'm like, well, why can't we go with you and experience that too? It's a new Japanese. I've never had Japanese food. You don't really know that as a kid. All you're told is, well, you stay home and your older sister's going to watch you. I'm like, okay. It happened left, right, and center 24/7, 365 days a year. Like it was constantly, You're the mud on my shoe. You're the pebble in my shoe. I don't want you around or involved in my life. And that's a weird feeling as a kid. But then as you get older and kind of understand what it is, then, I mean, I got pissed off. I got mad. I was like, fuck you. You stole my childhood. You denied me my childhood. And some of it's pretty basic. The gaslighting thing, too. Like, gaslighting your children into believing they're loved or that the neglect is for their own good. Boy, did we go through that too. Wasn't really told we were loved, but every now and then mom would throw out this is good for you or whatever, learning how to do dishes at 8 years old and didn't do them
Yeah.
right, so she emptied the cupboard. Had
Yeah.
to,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was going to say from a very young age, you kind of realize that um, you can't rely on anyone. Like no one's going to support you, and it you're not really taught anything from big to small, whatever it is. It was just thrust upon you in a sense, and expectate like you should know how to do this. How would I know how to do this?
exactly. Ex- and I remember times when I would try to ask Steve, like, our brother, help me so we can finish quicker. But then he'd be like, fuck that. We'll have something else to do. I'm like, oh, you're right, maybe. Like, I I'm like, God damn it, he's got a point. No wonder he drags his feet sometimes at chores or whatever. And the chores part didn't bother me until I realized when I was older, mom left a full page, like on the
Yeah,
fridge. Not one or two things, but like five or six for each of us. That's like almost 20 things for us three kids to do. I'm
yeah.
like, why? Why can't?
Keep us busy.
Why? Keep you
I don't know.
busy?
We had a very clean house.
Yeah, we did. Till we were all gone, because I know Roanne never cleaned. Um, sorry. So, what does this do, or what can the impact be on a child? Well, you internalize unlovability. That's me. I am the poster child for that. Absolutely convinced that, this deep internal sense of being unlovable is one of my tags. Um, my primary caregivers, my mom and dad, did not provide it. Or if it was provided, it was so sparse I can't even remember. I can't even remember. Like, was your mom huggy, lovey, touchy feely? I said, no. The first time I ever remember her really trying to hug me, I was 42 years old. And she did the grab you by your arms and pull you in. I'm like, what are you doing? She was like forcing it. I felt very awkward, didn't like it. So, whether it was physical or verbal, I never heard it. And whenever mom said, I love you, not till I was much, 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 much older, 40s, 50s, you could tell she didn't mean it. She was just trying to say it. I guess I'm supposed to say that now. And I was like, don't say it if you don't mean it, because I already know you don't. But anyway,
Right. Makes sense.
the child can also lean towards a high achieving persona. That can either be academics or whatever. Often these children become really high achievers. They basically run on cognitive fuel, which I like that term because it makes sense.
Right.
But they end up neglecting their emotional, relational needs. Don't know what to do except be an awesome A student and read those extra books and do that extra math work and get along with all my teachers and I mean, there were times I felt like that. I don't know how you felt, but I also was told we were going to college,
Yeah.
which that didn't happen either. But I can totally understand how you can feel good and get emotional over that cognitive fuel. Being a good,
Right.
be I won
Our
awards.
our the arrested development part for us wasn't the ability or the inability to read and that it was more in that we were had that funny sequestering from society and then thrust out into it and then sequestered again, couldn't go anywhere, and then thrust back out into it. So people were like, you're kind of awkward. I'm like, yeah, because bro, it changes, like and then we move and move and move. And so anymore it's like whatever. But as a kid, it's we did there was no talking about how to deal with adjusting to a new place to live. There's no talking about losing your friend. I mean, no, it was just, hey, get
Never.
rid of your shit because we're gonna pack it, and whatever your stuff doesn't fit ain't going, and we're off. So I mean, the the practical parts, the doing the dishes, the doing the laundry, the getting the books read, yeah, we're very good at because we learned to get efficient at those things.
Right.
We just didn't have a chance to hang out with our friends and learn that new dance and, go down to the pool. And those were very, very limited. So, and lack of any parental participation, shall we say? Um,
Mm-hmm.
we kind of raised ourselves. We had to, kind of, I got to be a functioning person. Let's figure it out. And you're completely on your own. So you're completely from scratch. I mean, just completely.
Everything from taking a shower, seriously, you
Yes.
know, to like you said, laundry. And I mean, I remember in high school once, mom said, I had asked, I'm like, where's the soap in the shower? It's gone. She goes, you don't get any soap. And I said, why? Because every week I go in there and I go to change it out and it's always gone. I said, I have a teenage brother. Maybe it's him. And to this day, Steve uses lots of soap and he always has. But I'm thinking, so you're going to take the soap away from me too? I'm
Well,
like, okay, challenge accepted. I mean, I was like, bitch. I
yeah, a lot of the punishment didn't fit the crime, so to speak.
no.
Um, you know, it was like wetting the bed. I was doing it on purpose. I was purposefully this. I was the. I mean, drug out of bed. Like, oh my God, this is a physical thing. It's not me. Like just craziness. And then to
Right.
find out later from my grandmother that my mother wet the bed just blew my mind. Just blew my mind.
What a bitch.
Like
God.
there's your opportunity for empathy and support right there. Or take
Exactly.
me to the doctor or have a moment where you can bond with me about a similar situation nope, none of it. Make me stay the night at places and all kinds or dehydrate me. Just crazy stuff. Just crazy stuff.
Yeah, didn't make sense. None of that
It's
stuff
like you
ever.
took it personally. Not like
Yeah.
my mom, but like a person, like she took it like I was personally.
Yes.
Anytime we did anything wrong, it was like, you're fucking with me. I'm like, I'm a kid. Like,
I'm a kid.
yeah,
Exactly.
bro, I'm 8 years old. I'm 10 years old. You know, it's like the whole you breaking your jaw and me being across the town and, I'm getting my ass beat because why wasn't I there?
Why would you?
You know?
Yes. I remember that. I was like so confused. Why
Yeah.
is
And the nurses were all like, hey, what's going on there, guy?
I oh my God. That was so weird.
But
I
I was
remember
held responsible.
I
I was
was
held responsible. So it just was this funny, it's just how it was.
yeah.
I mean, now I know different. Now I see different, blah, 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 blah. But I was burned out by the time I was 17. I
Oh
was
fuck.
just exhausted from it. Well, and they would say, oh, you're going to do what no, I'm not. Like, I want to do this. This is what I like. You
Yeah.
know, the only thing they did allow me to do was read, which I do a lot of or I enjoy. And I had an affinity for horses, and it was facilitated by other people usually. Or
Yeah.
I would go get a job at a place that, boarded horses, raking stalls, and eventually be able to get to ride someone's horse or, that kind of thing. I was completely on my own. And that was, man, I don't know, seventh grade, sixth, seventh grade,
Yeah.
because otherwise, you know, you didn't get the opportunity. They didn't go out of their way a bit for us into anything we enjoyed, or they took us to things they
They enjoyed.
imposed on us, I guess. Is that the right word?
I was just gonna say that stuff they enjoyed
Right.
or stuff they. I mean, between. I mean, NASCAR was kind of cool, but barbershop and quilt shows, and I'm like,
County
okay,
fairs.
I guess it's kind of fun, but then you go to a county fair, you can't eat any of the food, you can't go on any of the rides. So why the fuck am I here?
Right. Fire musters,
Yeah, yeah. Why am I here? Like, yeah,
antique fire trucks, and all those kind of like, yeah, we did a lot of stuff, but it was all in tune to them. The race tracks, they started on like the little quarter mile dirt tracks.
yeah.
Originally, they wanted to be photographers.
Mm-hmm.
And then dad found out, oh, I'm a fireman. Oh, I can do the crash crew? That's a little more, yeah, go sit in the stands, Ann.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. All of a sudden, he's gone.
Yeah. And then
He's
that's what he did all through. I mean, I tell people I've been at IndyCar races, I've been NASCAR races,
oh my gosh.
quarter
Yeah.
mile, midgets, like all, you name it, you
We
name
used to
it.
play with AJ Foyt's kids in the
Yeah.
pit.
Slide down the grass hill and the paper and the cardboard things.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Everybody's like, that's exciting. I'm like, no, you got to go there 3 days before because that's qualifying. You're there
right.
for 4 days. By the time they race, you don't care.
You don't
I mean, you're a kid. You're, you know. I mean, I guess
exactly.
if we got hot dogs and soda and all that, maybe. But mom packed lunches, and I
Half
mean,
the time,
we,
yeah. Half the time she packed the cooler. She made me and
yeah,
Steve carry it a lot of times. Yeah, crazy. I mean, we can laugh about it because of what we did, but
you have
was
to
that,
laugh about it.
yeah, but was that my first choice to always go to the NASCAR stuff at 8 years old? No. But I mean, I can laugh about it now. But it's, going back to this whole idea of being an orphan, you end up constantly searching for some belonging. Like we were talking about earlier about where we lived. It's very similar to a literal orphan. Like you grow up in an orphanage. Where are you really from? But you end up struggling with this desperate underlying need to belong, and it got to the point where you and I tell people, I'm from Detroit. I was born in Michigan, but I was 2 years old when we left. And any other family or friends that we had near Detroit, that's who I ended up maintaining contact with. So for me, if I say Detroit, everybody knows exactly where it's at.
Right.
And I don't even, it's where I'm from.
Some people might know Kalamazoo. They might have heard of Kalamazoo, or they might have heard it. But if I say I'm from, there was one time a Marine came into the tattoo shop, and for some reason, we were talking about something, Michigan, and I was a Red Wings fan, maybe, or something. From Michigan, Red Wing, woo woo, go Wings, and he's like, where are you from? I said, you probably never heard of it, but my dad's from St. Joe, and my mom's from Dowagiac, and he was like, he was from Dowagiac. And I was like, what? Yeah,
Rare.
but that's, how often does that happen? So, it was one of those things. But often, I mean, I got to do the mitten thing and kind of show them where stuff is. And, it's like California. Well, I live here. If you've lived here, Tennessee, I've never lived there. My friend's trying to explain stuff to me. I got to kind of look at a map and, it's the same thing, really. But you say a big city. I could say, well, Joshua Tree is more famous now. Before I'd say Palm Springs,
Right.
which I
Right.
live about an hour away from Palm Springs. Now I say I live in Joshua Tree National Park. And people say, how
Yeah.
far? I'm like, it's like 2 miles. It's right there. I'm looking at it. They're like, oh. I'm like, yeah, 29 Palms. But if you don't know the area, then it doesn't,
It
that's
doesn't.
similar.
Yeah. The surgeon from Northwestern here in Illinois who checked my wrist, um, he's from St. Joe, Michigan.
Hmm. Oh,
Ran-
interesting.
Random. And part of the reason he ended up in Chicago is because he doesn't live that far from Chicago. So he knows Chicago. I'm like, yeah, St. Joe is right across the board. Like, it's just kind of weird. But I don't feel
Small
bad.
world.
Yeah, I don't feel bad about saying I'm from Detroit because I've been there a million times. I
Yeah.
know my way around. Last time I
Yeah.
went to Toronto, I drove through Detroit. I know the city and I have friends there, so I don't even think about it anymore. But basically what happens is kind of what you, me, and Steve did a little bit is you create emotional distance so you can stop hoping for the validation that you never received. Like
Right.
you make peace to a point with your childhood, right? That's kind of what happens. So all the
I
trauma,
think you kind of have to, because that sense of being alone or on your own is freaking depressing. I mean, it's kind
very
of sad when you know it's and it's
there's no
something that you people talk to you about things that they experience and you can't even relate because you're like, you got what for Christmas? You did this for that? You whoop whoop. I have no idea what you're talking about.
even people who go through some pretty serious trauma as children and they come out of it as really cool, strong adults with great kids and this and that. I said, yeah, but maybe they were born and raised in the same town and their safety net was all their friends that they kept in touch with over the years. Or maybe they had, we didn't even get to have that. I couldn't tell you who we lived next to in third grade because we moved again. I'm going to forget half these people, and they're not lifelong friends anyway.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
even if you stayed in touch, we moved again and again and again, and I mean,
Too many.
it's very difficult.
I mean, I think too, when I have to explain to people, it wasn't just moving, it was interstate. Like, it was Michigan to Colorado. Like, it wasn't Michigan to Michigan. It was, let's get as far away as we fucking can.
Seems to be
So,
so, yeah.
in order to try to connect anyway, anyhow, friends, pen pal, anything, you really just couldn't do it. So I don't have the childhood friends, none of them, because we moved such far distances almost every single year. How do you track that? Like, how? I mean, the only reason I think you and I are still close to the triplets for so long is because they never left, and we were able to go back and continue. Tammy and
Reconnect.
I always tried to reconnect, but I, Beth Arnold and Gerald Adams from high school for me in Indiana. I'm lucky Gerald's here in Chicago. He's closer, and Beth has died. But I worked my ass off trying to keep them as friends and keep in touch because they are worth it. They're great people. But that's about it. Like, I mean, mom and dad, they went to their high school reunions when they were back in Michigan. There's like 150 people there. And they all still knew each other and had a great time. I'm like, Jesus, fuck you guys, man. Like,
Just
I
like rubbing it in, huh?
never been to a class reunion. Um, and
Which
I've
one
never
do you go
been.
to?
Yeah, exactly. Pick and choose. Who was I closest to? Probably junior high. Probably Rocky. Probably Nicole. Probably yeah, Nikki Cole and those guys. So I guess I would choose 29 Palms, even though I left in 1981.
Right.
I that alone is traumatic. And on top of it, the move was brutal. It was abusive. Oh well, your fucking bike don't fit on the truck. It stays here. You're like, oh my God, I mowed the lawn at 10 years old for a month to earn money for a cheap ass Goodwill bicycle with a bent frame. I didn't care. I had a bike. And now you're going to tell me,
Doesn't
whatever,
fit.
doesn't fit on the truck.
Yep.
So
But like I said, they were about their stuff, not our stuff.
always.
So it just, um, I ran across a quote, um, talking about this, and I thought I would read it. I don't remember. I think I pulled it off Reddit, to be honest. Um,
Okay.
but it says, looking back, recognizing that my interactions with my parents that would have constituted learning, healthy discipline, cause and effect, emotional regulation, or any basic parenting task either didn't happen or I was alone. I learned a little from self exploration, but the gaps should have been filled by a responsible adult. When I read that, I thought, oh, that sounds very much like what we experienced in that sense. I had a physical person there. I had a
Right.
1950s housewife up in the house, but the mothering part of that didn't. So she baked and the house was clean and I don't know, she didn't work. But those parenting skills, I just don't remember. It was all just very cruel and very. I used to think as a kid if that was kind of like being what a slave was like, not to discount in any way, shape, or form slavery or people that were enslaved, but we were just treated like food was a privilege and things of
Yeah,
that nature at times. And just used to think, gosh, what the heck, you know?
exactly. It wasn't just bad parenting. It's kind of like it went over the line. It was really
Oh, it was
cruel.
way over the line. There was no parenting.
It was really, and forgive them is what people say. Forgive them. They did the best they could. I said, wait, 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 wait. They had awesome parents on both sides. They had a shitload of support when they got married. And I'm talking money and food support. They had free babysitters with all their other siblings, and mom and dad was there. No, I refuse to believe that. I think they felt some kind of way being the two youngest
Very
and
immature.
very immature, very immature. So we're just going to leave. And they left all right, 2,500 miles away or whatever. And then they spent 30 years never getting called out on their bullshit and just getting meaner and more narcissistic. And no one can see that us three kids are getting the shit beat out of us and being deprived food. It would break through once in a while, like to Aunt Barb, she'd notice some things. But we didn't go back to visit very often, family in Michigan. We didn't do
Right. We
family.
also grew up when corporal punishment was
Okay.
commonplace. So if you had a black eye or something, you go to the bus stop and it'd be like, what happened, man? You talk back to your dad. And, they just,
Yeah.
I mean, some kids got it worse than others. So it was kind of that funny era too, where a lot of it, I think, was looked the other way because it was let them discipline their children, let them, that kind of 40s, 50s mentality of,
Yes.
setting the kids straight, so to speak, which we got you're going to get married and have babies kind of speech.
Yeah.
Like, no, I
Yeah.
want to do this. Like, no, you're going to get married. What? Like, no, I want to do this, but very
It
sexually delineated, very, I guess, patriarchal, misogynistic. I mean,
it
and so we
was.
weren't taught anything you needed to function. I don't know that our brother was, but
Not
he
really, but
had
he was
more
supported.
things, huh?
He wasn't really taught really more than we were at all, but I think he was more supported.
Well, he had a bank account with a checking book. We didn't. A
Yeah,
checkbook
exactly.
and, things
Exactly.
like that. And the first car and, all that stuff was more, he was the boy. Uh, but, you know, yeah, well, I don't know. I'm
But
just
I also,
saying. So, I mean,
yeah, but I also
mhm.
remember too feeling really hurt. I mean, I still kind of feel hurt sometimes when I think about certain things, but I remember feeling hurt that our parents like never went to any of our sports events, or like I was in drama, never went to a play, they never got involved at all.
No,
And it kind of reinforced the idea that I don't really want you around.
then that you're alone. You're on
You're
your own.
alone. So, like when I tell people about birthdays, I'm like, I have a hard time with birthdays. They were never celebrated. And after years and years of never getting birthday cards from your mom when you're older, or having any real parties when you're younger, only a couple that are disastrous, or what, you kind of feel like you are not wanted. Oh, well, have your own party and you're not listening to what I'm saying. I've tried to have my own birthday party before, and it's it's not a good feeling. It kind of sucks. And I feel
It,
probably the most alone because I'm definitely not anywhere we grew up or any, I mean, but it makes me mad. If you're 14, 15 years old and you tell me one year, I don't need birthday parties anymore, mom. Okay. but thanks. Okay. But we're celebrating you as a person. Glad you're here. That's the whole point.
Right.
So my kids always had birthdays. And as soon as they felt like they didn't want them, then they didn't want them. But that's one of those crazy things I hate because I'm trying slowly to learn my entire adult life how to pull away from my parents because I have to validate everything. Are you sure you graduated college? What do you mean, am I sure? Yeah, I'm fucking sure. You know, and I knew I couldn't stay very attached, no matter how hard I thought I needed to make them proud or whatever the hell I was doing. Definitely distancing, especially emotionally, was the way to go because holy shit, it just never ended to the day they died, both of them. It never ended.
Yeah, I had to amputate them when I was 17, so I couldn't do what I had to do. And so people are like, "That's horrible." I'm like, "Well, they're not supportive, so it's better off to not."
I would say my amputation was pretty set around 1993 or 4 when I got divorced from Art Victor. I was like, wow, my parents really don't give a shit. They've never even seen my children. And I'm getting divorced, and they're like, what the fuck did you do? I didn't do anything. Like, why is it automatically my fault? Do I make you look bad by being divorced? Aw, I'm so sorry. What,
Yeah, that's the whole, you ruined their reputation, or they felt their reputation was slighted. And that's the whole thing with me, is same thing. It wasn't about me. It's the fact that I ruined their reputation. Very interesting. I was always like, what reputation? What are you talking about? Like, well, we don't live where you grew up. Nobody here knows
Right,
you.
exactly.
That's odd, but
Although image was big with mom, it always was how she looked, how the house looked, how that outward impression developed. Because, she'd have this beautiful fruit bowl on the dinner table, and people who'd come to the house, they didn't realize we weren't allowed to have any of the fruit ever. Ever. That's sick.
it's like a model home, like for show.
Yeah. How many times did you have friends who finally met mom say, oh, she's nice? And you're like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because
Just
you're not related to her. That's what I
exactly.
always say.
I said the same thing to friends. And then if they happen to be friends with me long enough, like when I lived in Kalamazoo or something, I'll never forget the day Trish came up to me and she goes, oh my God, everything you've ever told me about your mother, I believe you now. I said, you what? You haven't believed me the last 10 years? She goes, no, I did, but I saw that bitch today. I'm like, okay. I'm not lying. And she was just like blown away.
Yep, that little old lady. Sweet little
Oh,
old lady. Imagine what came out of her mouth.
she was cruel with the name calling.
Very.
Like she dug deep
Um,
for some. You had a couple. I
which
think
makes
mine
me
was.
wonder why. What did they call people call her that? What was the deal? What was, you know,
I don't know. You look at
never.
her when she's. You look at pictures of her when she's 16, 18. She looks like a young Elizabeth Taylor. What are people
Hmm.
going to say about you? And
Jackie
you're.
O.
I I don't know. But I remember her the names she used, or some of them I didn't even know what they meant. I'm like, where the fuck is
Yeah.
that coming from? I have no idea what you just called me. You called me a name instead of talking to me, instead of explaining you're angry about something. You just called me a nasty name. I don't even know what it means. Sorry, getting over this cold. And that used to trip me out. Like when she called you Irma LaDouche when you were younger.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck is Irma LaDouche? The first time she called me a slut, I'm like, what is that? I think I was
Yeah, I
12.
went and asked my friend, I was in like third grade, and I went and asked my friend's big sister. 'Cause I already had my period and stuff, so she was like, "Oh, let me help you out." And I was like, "Thank God, somebody already been doing this."
Yeah.
Anyway, um, I asked her like da 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 da, and she was like, why would your mom say that? And I was like, well, why? Yeah, I don't know why. Like, like, I didn't get it. I didn't connect with me, even when she kind of explained what it meant. I was like, what? Like, it didn't make sense. If, because I have no context for that. I had no experience. I had no nothing. I had no understanding of the word, no understanding of set. Like, I was a kid. Like, well, it's different now, but then I didn't have any exposure to any of that. So random words or different. I mean, when we moved out here, we had Mexican food for the first time, really. It's
Right.
like being exposed to that. That looks really good. Oh, that salsa's hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
You figure
Yeah.
things out. But yeah, she was like, why would your mom say that? Girl, you tell me why my mom would say that. I have no clue. I have no clue what the deal is. She's angry with us for being alive. I don't know. Like
I,
I don't know. So
yeah, it was constant. So
yeah,
I became even more confused. I guess in the moment you're super pissed or something, you yell at your kid or you say something bad or you, God forbid, call them a name. Okay, no, it was all the time. If you would have talked to my mom, I was pregnant 5 times in seventh grade or some shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Where are you getting this idea that I'm a piece of shit girl
well, they
who's
told me I couldn't get pregnant the first couple times I had sex. There's no way. I would have had to been doing it a long time. And I was
oh
like,
my,
well, I got news for you. I think it only took twice. Might have
fucking
been the first time.
that's horrible though. That and it's the typical bash the kid, you know, totally berate the daughter and but I'm like, well, she's already pregnant. Let's move on. You're
There
you're
was no parenting going on anyway.
exactly.
I made some not great decisions when I was a kid. That was one of them. I also thought I was in love. And then my parents told us we were never leaving 29 Palms. And then guess what?
Then
We
what
were
happened?
moving to Arizona. And I was like, what? So, of course, people are like, yeah, but okay, I was 16. I'm sorry. Like, you were that fucking brilliant at 16. I wasn't.
I don't think of it as a mistake though. I mean, that's pretty normal teenage stuff. And you couldn't talk to me. I'm 4 years younger. Couldn't talk to Steve. He's a boy. You have some
Right.
close friends, maybe. Maybe not even all your close friends are as honest with you as they should be. Who knows? I don't know. I,
I had friends that I'd known for 2 years that had been having sex for 2 years and never got pregnant. So, I mean, it was kind
yeah,
of all over the place with yeah, I had no adults to talk to. So, I mean, I had just friends or,
that's hard.
you know, yeah,
Between peer pressure and bad information, you're fucking screwed.
yeah.
I,
Well,
but that's the traumatic shit. You go through something, maybe it's something super important and awesome. Maybe it's something really scary and depressing. And you cannot go home. To this day, people say, well, call your mom. I'm like, I never could call my mom. Ever, ever, ever,
no, not
ever,
an
ever.
option.
Not at 6 years old coming home from kindergarten. And a boy hit me. Nope. And you learned at 5, 6 years old. You can't say shit to mom. I knew
Make her
somehow.
get in the car and drive to the school. Oh my God. Well, you get your ass beat on the way home.
Exactly.
Disrupt her day from Days of Our Lives or
What did
whatever's
you
going
do?
on.
That's what she always said to me. What did you do? And I was the most quiet, do nothing kid that I knew. I'm like, I didn't do anything. Well, you're lying. I'm
Yeah,
not.
you're gonna get your ass beat because I know you did something.
I,
What?
oh my God. Or when you ran away that one time with Joni Jolliffe. Mom put me and Steve in the hallway. How old was I? Second grade, third grade? 8? 9? And she turned on the overhead light. It's like Gestapo tactics. And she's screaming back and forth. Where's your sister? Where's your sister? Where's your... I'm like, I don't fucking know. Even if I did know, I wouldn't tell you. I mean, I had this sense of, I'm being brutalized by my mother at 2 in the morning, and because my older sister ran away. Jeez, I wonder why. But I think that was Joni Jolliffe. Didn't she throw pebbles at the window or something, and then you guys took off on the pony? Or
Something like that. I don't, yeah, not comfortable using names though.
oh, okay, sorry. That's how I think of it, though. But
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
yeah,
But yeah, we planned. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was gonna run away. That was the second time, I think. No, third time. First time was Colorado, and I know I tried to run away in Anaheim, and that was before, or was that after? That was before Yorba Linda.
yeah. Anaheim was
Crazy
before you.
talk.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Anaheim was before.
Anaheim was short though. Was that like 6, 7 months we lived there?
Yeah, yep, not even a full
Yeah,
school year. It was a
yeah, I
two-bedroom
remember that.
apartment, and we were all in one bedroom.
All in one bedroom. Joy, joy. Oh my God. But every time something like that happened, it kind of seemed out of place at the time. But I look back now, I'm like, no, that's kind of how every day was.
Well, the good thing about Anaheim, remember, was a neighbor loved CCR, and mom actually liked CCR, so we got to listen to CCR.
I
And
forgot
because
about
I
that.
wasn't allowed to listen to the music I wanted to listen to, so I had to listen to what they allowed.
And then you got the radio. Was it from Grandma? When did you get the radio?
Yeah, grandma.
That was kind of cool because it was your radio. So in your bedroom, we're trying to be quiet and you listen. How do you know all the stuff from the 70s? Like, I had an older sister. I shared a room with her. I listened to her music, what she wanted to listen to. So I know all
So I
these
tell my
songs.
granddaughter, one day you're gonna sit in a bar, and they're gonna have '80s trivia, and you're gonna say, "Shit,
Exactly.
my grandma took me to school every day. I listened to that crap." So
Yeah.
I said, "You're gonna ace it, and you're gonna win a bunch of money." And she just starts laughing all the time. She goes, "I don't think I'll be in a bar." I said, "Well, wherever, babe."
Wherever. Yeah. No,
But
that's
I'm
true.
just saying, all these Tears for Fears and all this other music. She listens to a lot, and then Kara listens to what she listens to.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of mixed up in there. They listen to country. I do not.
I can't do country. But it's funny what you latch onto. Like, you're definitely more of a music person, partly because of the way we grew up. Music was something to really hang on to. And of course, the music of the time. And then for me, it was more like film, more than music, really. Um, and I hang on to that stuff like with a death grip because that's the only way I can either pinpoint where we lived
For the
or,
movies,
yeah, or pinpoint a a moment or an event or something
yep, Star
somehow.
Wars was Riverside. Okay.
Yeah, and the only reason I got to see it was because that's what Steve and Alan wanted to see, and I had to see what my older brother was going to go see. I'm like, okay. So we stood out in line that wrapped all the way around the theater. I mean, I'll never forget it. Yes, it was groundbreaking and amazing, but I didn't want to see Star Wars. But yeah, I
Harrison
can.
Ford makes it all better.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But yeah, I have to. Steve can remember all these details and addresses and when and where, but I can't do that. I know you have a hard time with that too. I have to think of, the movie of the time or something, and it kind of can take me back to where we were. And that sucks too. I don't like that. I can't
Yeah,
think of one consistent, comfortable, safe, happy place. And that sucks.
I agree.
It just sucks. But don't ever be afraid to emotionally cut ties with your parents or other family. That's the one giveaway I can give you because it's not worth it, especially if all your shit started in childhood. You were a kid. Period. End of discussion. They were the adult. So no matter how you look at it, they were wrong. They're to blame. I mean, I had a therapist tell me once, yes, you can blame your parents. Of everything you've told me, starting at age 4 or 5, all the way up, he goes, yes, you were kicked out at 17. You weren't even an adult yet and you're still getting abused. You can blame them for a lot of trouble and a lot of fight that you had to go through because it took twice as long, it was twice as hard. You had to teach yourself, mess up, teach yourself again. Pretty hard. And I'm like, yeah, it sucked not to have
Well,
parents.
yeah, sorry. I was gonna say it doesn't mean that you don't have any influence of your parents in you. It means that their influence was harmful and you're fighting it like every step of the way. Every, you know, it's like the opposite of, oh, my mom was loving and giving. Okay, opposite of that. You know,
Right. No, that's important distinction, you know. And I think mom was also very, very wrapped up in the idea that you will be what I want you to be. I'm like, no, I'm
yeah.
my own person. Um, and a lot of parents do that, unfortunately. I'm not yours. I'm of you, you know, so what you say and do and how you treat me and raise me matters, but I'm still me.
That's that
Um,
1950s kind of conformity, fit
I
into the
think so too.
mold craziness.
Image
But
is all. Image is
right.
everything.
But
Yeah.
I tell people, I'm kind of who I am despite my parents' efforts to raise me,
Yeah.
not because of them, but I spent more time away than I have there. And when we
There.
were there, we were in survival mode. There wasn't a whole lot of learning and other stuff going on.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely true. But we may or may not revisit this idea again. Any comments or questions, feel free to reach out at us in the comments section on YouTube or Dandelion Spirit Podcast at gmail.com. And stay tuned for our next episode next week. And until then, make today your peaceful day.
all right, protect your spirit.
Absolutely. Bye.